This is a story about infrastructure development and the cradle land for human evolution. Kenya has put up its first elevated highway, a 27.1-kilometer expressway connecting the country's capital city with the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the largest airport in East and Central Africa. The challenge of navigating through the congested Nairobi city will now be a communion between mankind and his creation. Skyscrapers. In their own terms, engineers, builders and government officials tell the story of how the Nairobi Expressway was built, the ecological and engineering challenges they faced, and how they overcame them. This is Nairobi, the Kenyan capital, whose skyline has been changing for decades, from the colonial era to the post-independence Kenya. Now, before the construction of the Nairobi Expressway, this is how Nairobi used to look like from the skies. But 2 years down the line, the picture is quite different. A 27.1-kilometer road stretching through the Central District is now a dominant feature. My name is Enock Sikolia, a Kenyan TV journalist, and this is the story about the Nairobi Expressway.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Well done. Well done.
At the very heart of the green city in the sun, a construction project of staggering intricacy has just been completed. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta and Chinese Ambassador to Kenya, Zhou Binjian, termed it a game changer.
And it has already proved its worth. It has ushered in an era of reduced travel time, and increased mobility, and an era of reduced congestion and enhanced productivity.
The Nairobi Expressway has not only contributed to alleviating traffic congestion in Nairobi, but also given this beautiful city under the sun a big boost as a regional hub.
As one of the achievements of Kenya-China cooperation under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative put forward by China, the expressway has reinvented Kenya's capital city, besides serving as one way of easing Nairobi's traffic congestion. Nairobi is seen as one of the most important cities in the East and Central Africa region. Almost everything that comes into the region must pass through the Kenyan capital. Starting from Lolongo, 21.8 kilometers east of Nairobi's Central District, the expressway is now part of the backbone of the Kenyan capital city. And one man is already feeling its impact.
Hello, this is Kajiado, County 034 at Fred's Ranch. My name is Fred. I'm one of the squatters around here. And on my way to Radio Citizen, where I obviously entertain people with the rumba vibes.
Machoka uses the expressway almost every day. He lives 58 kilometers away from the Central District in Kajiado County, as local administrations are called in Kenya.
It's been a nightmare. I mean, you wouldn't have seen me hanging around by this time.
And drives along the entire stretch of the expressway before he hits his workplace. We caught up with him one fine morning.
When I came over here 29 years ago, that is 1993, everything you see here was not there. Every single building you see around here is an addition. It was a jungle, and the only things you could see were giraffes, waterbucks, and generally wildlife. That is what you could see.
He believes that the expressway will be a magnet for satellite towns.
There should be more changes on this side because people find it easier to get out of town. You know, Nairobi can be quite a handful for those who are advancing in age, and people would rather stay out of Nairobi. The problem has always been, how do you get back to Nairobi in good time? And with the expressway, I expect more people to start moving this way.
He wants to show me just how fast one can move when using the new road.
Here we are. One's here now. Like,
What is the time now?
the time is 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. So once we hit this bus, we just,
At the toll station.
yes,
Ah, so you have ETC.
yes, sir, I do.
Aha.
No stopping.
You don't stop.
No, no. The machines know my car. I refuse to waste my time, so I made sure I have the ETC, and then, you know, the barrier opens, immediately my car arrives, and then I hit the expressway and enjoy the scenery. This is one thing I'll remember President Uhuru for, to be honest. Yeah, this one he did it for me, because I've suffered on this road for 29 years. That's not a short period. Yeah. So, you know, someone who was born 29 years ago, some of them are already married with children. And I've been on this road suffering.
Along the trunk road is an incredible range of amenities. A a few kilometers from where it begins is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, arguably the biggest and the busiest airport in the East Africa region. The Nairobi terminal of the standard gauge railway, Wilson Airport, the capital center, one of the busiest shopping centers in Nairobi, the Nairobi National Park, Nyayo National Stadium that hosts sporting, political, entertainment, religious, and many other events. The Global Trade Center, the city's tallest building in terms of the occupiable space. Uhuru Park, the biggest green space in the city for recreational purposes. And of course, the Central Business District.
Right now, I can actually get, to enjoy rumba. Yeah, something like that, but I know I need to cool it down because I'm not exactly a young man. Yeah, I can enjoy rumba as I leisurely drive to the office. Rumba is my food. Other than the physical food that I eat, rumba is what I'm made of.
The corridor has a vast amount of thorough traffic, which the infrastructure before the expressway was struggling to handle, especially at rush hour. The corridor could not literally breathe.
And the expectations of Kenyans, as you're asking, is not just to see the highway, the expressway, but to have a benefit. Currently, as you travel anywhere in Nairobi, like I live in Kasukari, and a normal day, it takes me 2.5 hours to come in here. And the culprit is the Uhuru Highway, because from Pangani, I must cross it. From Forest Road, I must cross it. When I'm lucky, on the weekends, it's a journey of 15 minutes.
The congestion of the artery that is part of the northern corridor from Kenya's port city of Mombasa to the border town of Malaba was now a necessity.
So much money was being wasted actually on the road in terms of traffic jams.
At the center of the plan was a conviction that Nairobi needed to be reconfigured. And to deliver this master plan were Kenyan and Chinese workers who for months worked on this piece of engineering marvel.
My name is Frederick. My name is Frederick Kojo. A site engineer with the Section 1 of Nairobi Expressway.
Frederick Kojo was born in Kisumu, Kenya's third city, located in the western part of the country. His love for architecture and engineering began during his childhood days. He settled on engineering during his university studies, and today he's proud of being part of the team that ensured Kenya had its first elevated road.
I was so happy. I was so happy, Enoch. The thing is, we all know that many, if not all, would want to work with a mega project like this one. And it was a challenge to me. I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to go out there where we had where I could get a challenge. So yes, I was so happy. It was a mega project that was to be undertaken.
The construction of the Nairobi Expressway began in October 2019.
First, wanna feel niko blessed to be here. Ni baraka. So I don't take it for granted because najua ni watu wengi wanataka kukua kwa hii project, but they don't make it. So mi wanna feel furaha, then nikijua hii ni kitu yenye haitaisha kesho ama kesho kutwa, ni kitu itakaa hapa nitakuwa naiona daily. Nikipata watu wengi nitakuwa naambia ni at least I was here, nilijenga hii barabara tukiwa na mabiste wangu.
Jen got to learn about the opportunity through a friend and decided to try her luck. She got the job after passing her interview.
As much as being the site engineer, the civil engineer, I get to learn from Chinese. I get to learn from my colleagues.
Frederick Kojo's case was different. He was part of the China Road and Bridge Corporation team that constructed the standard gauge railway, Kenya's modern train system that stretches from the port city of Mombasa to the capital city of Nairobi.
And being the same company that did the SGR, the phase 1 and the phase 2, I was transferred to this place. That was way back in 2019, in October 2019. It was like a transition from one mega project to the other.
Nairobi was once a small colonial town that served as a source of labor for the construction of the railway to Uganda. But over time, it blossomed into a city of over 5 million people. Well, I've lived in Nairobi for years now, and one thing that has kept annoying me is traffic congestion. See, it can be really bad. The Nairobi Expressway is Kenya's first public-private partnership project built by the China Road and Bridge Corporation to reduce traffic congestion in the Kenyan capital. It took Chinese and Kenyan engineers less than 2 years to work it out. The idea of constructing this partially elevated highway dates back 11 years ago, but it was during a dinner meeting in China between the Kenyan Transport Minister and CRBC officials that a deal was struck.
We were having discussions in China with CRBC over dinner, and I told them that from the airport, Beijing airport, to Beijing city, it took us 20 minutes. And I asked them, this 6-lane highway, who did it and how was it done? They told me that was their investment. It was their investment, CRBC, from Beijing city to Beijing airport. And so I asked them, why can't you do the same in Nairobi, where we have a serious traffic jam from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? They thought about it, they said yes, they sent a team here, which did a census, and noticed that at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, there was traffic, vehicles about 30 to 40,000 every day. And this meant that it was a very good business proposition for them. The rest is history.
the capital city was growing at an alarming rate, and Mombasa, Uhuru and Wayaki highways were becoming too narrow to accommodate the ever-increasing traffic. In October 2019, a giant project was launched. But it was until 2020 when earthworks began. The new 27-kilometer road rises from the east of the capital city, effectively creating a two-way maneuvering system. This was carried out by an army of bulldozers, excavators, giant cranes, and of course, over 4,000 Kenyan and Chinese builders. Drilling in a fast-growing city, too close to tall buildings and without much alterations, becomes an extreme challenge for the engineers and designers. Everything must be transported to the construction site. Materials, water, concrete, the workforce, and concrete beams. In July 2020, a construction site is set up in the middle of the Kenyan capital city. It is the building site for the country's first elevated road. It is a tough task for the builders. They need to construct the 27-kilometer stretch with 13 kilometers of it elevated in just 18 months. And by May 2022, the new road was ready for launch. It was a source of pride for the Kenyan government. Expected to reduce congestion, the expressway has transformed the country's skyline.
A lot of people have told us that our relationship with China is not beneficial. For those who say that, I request them come. Let them see a project like this. Let them see the project that we have done in Lamu. Let them see the project that we've done to be able to reduce the cost of petroleum with the KOT in Kilindini in Mombasa. Let them see the various other projects and programs that have eased life for Kenyans. Our partnership with China is one that is mutually beneficial, that is based on win-win, and we are very grateful.
In recent years, under the strategic guidance and personal attention of President Kenyatta and President Xi, the broader relationship between China and Kenya has reached new heights unmatched in history.
The construction site was divided into two sections. On one side, the creation of a new 15-kilometer ground level roadway in the middle of the existing A8 road. And from the area around Nairobi Southern Bypass, the road is elevated all the way to the western part of the city, the Westlands. Kojo is a site engineer for the ground level section. His team tackled enormous work of water drainage and earth filling. Their mission was to clear the area, excavate to establish the foundation, build embankments and the subgrade, and prepare the site for the imminent laying of the roadway. An array of bulldozers, scrappoles, trucks clear millions of cubic meters of sand and rocks. The area is then compacted and flattened to create the road structure and make it strong. Machines were on the forefront of this mega project. The challenges these builders faced were intimidating.
Areas around the JKIA airport, we had some places that had pools of water. So what we did was to set generators in place, to set excavators in place, and to know how to find out where do we have the existing drainage systems, more especially along the vertical lines of Mombasa Road and the surrounding, so that when we started pumping this water, we pump it according to the design, how it's supposed to be done. We channel this water to the existing drainages. We channel this water in proper places that we don't interfere with other people, we don't interfere with other companies. We don't drain this water so that we, in a way that will interfere with the normal activities of other companies along the surrounding.
The length and size of the elevation is huge as per the Kenyan standards. And the scope of the work is sizable. Few months after construction began, the work on the foundation for the bridge began. Each of the columns to support the highway section requires a substructure. It will serve as the base for the foundations. They provide a hold within a hard rock. To construct East Africa's longest bridge, drilling machines and different types of cranes are enlisted for the task. These machines are the cutting edge of bridge construction. The aim here is to erect piers that will hold the bridge firmly above the ground. And this is where drilling comes in. Rotary drilling rigs were deployed along the stretch. They utilize high levels of torque and rotation with a drill bit at the end of the drill pipe rapidly rotating between 50 and 120 RPM and boring through the rock formation. This is Bunyala Road, and John Wekesa and his Chinese counterpart Li Huang are racing against time to have the hall ready for the construction of a shaft. It is here that concrete piles are constructed. Concrete reinforced with steel is used. These piles are like well shafts below the concrete footing. They are built 5 meters in diameter and are over 10 meters deep. The length of the individual pile depends on how far the bedrock is from the surface.
We had to make sure the underlying bedrock was a good one. If we didn't have a favorable soil lying underneath, then we replaced that.
Once the hard rock is reached, each hole or pile is filled with concrete. That is after the placement of the steel reinforcement cage. This ensures that the combined weight of the piers, concrete beams, and the actual roadway is held up by very stable foundations.
The concrete for the foundation, we had to make sure it is strong enough to hold the beams and the piers.
Once foundations are finished, piers are erected. First, steel reinforcement cages for the columns are placed. Steel molds are then fixed around the cages. It is what holds concrete in place and gives columns their shapes. They are removed once concrete dries up and becomes solid hard. As drilling and erection of piers is happening, builders from Nairobi's Earth Water Works Development Agency are busy shifting the water system. The old system is being retired. They must fix a new line before road construction is completed. It's a matter of precision and speed. Steels being used here can last for more than 75 years. Interlocking these long and strong steel tubes is not a walk in the park. It calls for a lot of concentration. As the team on the elevated section continue to build piers, Engineer Kojo and his team on the ground level section are compacting different textures of soil. They have to build embankments and then the subgrade before bitumen is laid. The entire task of constructing the expressway must be done without halting the general movement of vehicles and people. The piers are poured with concrete on site, directly above the foundations. Engineers must ensure that concrete retains its quality from the time it's prepared in the factory to the time it's poured to form piers.
It's about distance, it's about temperatures consideration, it's about the particles. How hard it is. It only gives you a way of knowing how much water is supposed to be added, how much cement is supposed to be added to make it not dry up. And another thing, you see the concrete mixer truck is always moving. The drum, let me talk about the drum itself. it's designed in a way that it carries a maximum amount of this concrete. Whether it's concrete, whether it's mortar, it has a maximum amount it can carry. And it's lanced in a way. It's lanced in a way to make sure that when it keeps on moving, it doesn't pour out, and it maintains the temperature of the concrete or the mortar inside. So what it does is to, let me say, to keep it at the state, at its own state.
Chinese approach towards work, I admire it a lot because supervision with the Chinese teams is very critical. Right? It's a standard principle of construction. People on a construction site like this that is employing, I'll say roughly 4,500 Kenyans, right, at different levels. People are broken down into what you call work gangs, 30 strong, 10 strong, and every work gang has a supervisor whose job is not to build. His job is to follow you. You deliver work at the right pace, at the right quality.
The piers keep rising higher and higher. But not all are of the same size and shape. There are 6 types of piers constructed: single column piers, double column piers, single column frame piers, double column frame piers, double column portal piers, and 3 column portal piers. The single column pier is colossal in size.
When they do a single column, it means that column is not the same as when you have 2 columns. So they put very, very heavy stuff. Those piers, they've been dug deep into the ground, almost like 30 meters. And that's the same technology which was used to do the SGR. You know, the SGR is even carrying heavier terrain. You go some places, it's actually 1 pier. And so it is done that way because there are some places where it is so narrow that you cannot have two piers. But then what you do is have one, but of higher capacity. Because when I said they put one where it's narrow, you know, we could have decided to make it wide by, say, demolishing buildings or cutting trees, which you don't want, or getting into the Huru Park, for example. So what happens is, what you do is you take all those things into consideration, the environmental issues, the proximity of other buildings, like you said, Parliament, which cannot be demolished. So all those things come into play when they do now the final design. You notice even, for example, in Westlands, there was a famous fig tree, which has been there donkey years. But we had to change the design of the road to make sure we don't actually touch it.
As piers are being erected in situ, a team of engineers and workers are busy building beams or girders in the factory miles away. They will form the base on top of the piers upon which a roadway will be made. These concrete beams are pre-stressed to make them stronger using a technique that has only been in theory in Kenya.
That is concrete that is, I would say, over-reinforced. So you're not just putting bars of reinforcement, you actually stretch the bars. So when you let go of them, they actually compel the concrete to come even closer together. For you to do this kind of long bridges, you require concrete, reinforced concrete that is a little bit more than what we use normally. We use reinforced concrete. What we're using in here is pre-stressed concrete. It's a unique technology, not new to the theoreticians, so we teach it in the universities. But there's hardly any person in Kenya producing pre-stressed concrete.
Thousands of them are being produced for the construction of the elevated part of the Nairobi Expressway. Transporting these beams from the plant to the construction site can be handful. 2 technicians must drive each girder through the busy construction site. It can be a safety risk if utmost care is not considered. Each girder is more than 3 meters tall, over 50 meters long, and weighs about 115,000 kilograms. Once delivered to the construction site, the girder is installed. It is a job that these builders must do with proper coordination. Any mistake could be costly. But one machine makes this work a little bit lighter and easier. Its name, beam launcher.
I like how the Chinese work. They made it so easy. They made it look so easy. The machinery, the right machinery that were in place made it so easy. We didn't have to use a lot of effort.
These Kenyan and Chinese workers have to communicate and coordinate properly with the machine operator as he places the girder on top of the piers. This is done repeatedly as thousands of girders are launched to form a roadway. 23rd of December 2021, President Uhuru Kenyatta launched the final girder, completing the roadway with the expressway snaking through Nairobi skyscrapers. The city of Nairobi had completely changed.
For almost 2 years, Kenyan and Chinese workers have worked together day and night to put up Kenya's most iconic road. This road here, the Nairobi Expressway.
Through the months of January, February and March, builders worked on the deck slab, the median barrier and electric poles before bitumen was laid. The construction of the expressway smoothly coming to an end and before the designated time for launch. 14th May 2022, the expressway was opened to the public on a trial basis, and by the time it was coming to an end, the number of motorists using the new road had risen to 45,000 cars per day.
This singular project basically secures Nairobi's status as the region's capital, as well as the region's economic nerve center, and therefore strengthening Kenya's position as East and Central Africa's commercial and diplomatic hub.
As the new road continues to facilitate faster movement of people and goods across the city of Nairobi, both Kenyan and Chinese officials believe that it will foster harmony between the people of the two countries, besides attracting more investments into the East African country. My name is Enock Sikolia, and this is the Kenyan Historian.